Okay. Hello, everyone.
Hello everyone. Hello, Mani Selvi.
Hello, Sakina. So, we saw yesterday chapter 2, which talked about what is self-sabotage. What are the... Are you able to hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can hear you. Initially, there was some echo, but now it's good. Yeah.
Okay. So, we started with chapter 2 yesterday, which talked about self-sabotage. We covered resistance, hitting your upper limit, uprooting, perfectionism, limited emotional processing skills, justification, disorganization, attachment to what you don't really want, judging, and pride. So today we continue on the list of what all other things involve self-sabotage. And who would like to read next?
Me.
Okay, Tasneem, please go ahead.
Thank you. Guilt of succeeding. In the world of so much pain, horror, and misfortune, who are we to have happy, abundant lives? That's the thought process that so many people go through. One of the biggest mental barriers people face is the guilt that comes with finally having enough or more than one needs. This can come from many different sources, but it ultimately boils down to feeling as though you don't deserve to have it. This feeling often comes up when we start to earn more money or have nicer things. Often, people will sabotage their higher incomes with reckless discretionary spending or by being less vigilant about their clientele or workload because they are not quite comfortable having more than basic necessities, and so they put themselves back into a comfortable feeling of lack. When it comes to success, guilt is an unfortunately common emotion, especially for good hearted people who want to do the right thing and live authentic lives. How to resolve this? Please realize that most extremely successful people have no guilt whatsoever. In fact, this feeling usually only comes when you are stepping between not having enough and finally having enough. What you have to realize is that money and success are tools. They buy you back time and offer you the opportunity to help, employ, influence, and change the lives of others. Instead of looking at your success as a status differentiator, which will always make you feel bad and uncomfortable, see it instead as a tool with which you can do important and positive things in the world and your own life. Fear of failing. How often do we not even attempt something because we are afraid to look bad or fail immediately? The fear of failing is often something that holds people back from putting in the work they would need to become truly great at something. But it can also take another, more insidious form. Once we have established something new in our lives, the fear can come up as a constant, irrational worry that we are missing something, that our partner is being unfaithful, or that we are one misstep away from losing it all. These catastrophic thoughts happen when we want to shield ourselves from potential loss. They only come up when we finally have something we care enough about and really want to keep. How to resolve this? There is a difference between failing because you are trying something new and daring, and failing because you are not showing up, doing the work, or being responsible for your actions. These are two very different experiences and should be separated in your mind. As scary as it might be to not be great at something initially, or perhaps even experience a loss, it is even worse to fail by virtue of never trying and always playing small. Failure is inevitable, but you have to make sure it's happening for the right reason. When we fail out of negligence, we take a step back. When we fail because we are attempting new feats, we take one step closer to what we will work. Downplaying. When we downplay our success in life, we are either trying to make ourselves seem less impressive so others do not feel threatened and therefore like us more, or we are trying to avoid the sense that we have made it because we are afraid of peaking. Though so many of us long for the moment when we feel as though we have finally arrived and achieved the measures of success we so deeply desire, we often receive them only to then feel as though they aren't the great impressive, or that they do not make us feel as good as we thought they would. This happens because of downplaying. The idea of having made it makes us afraid that we are reaching the pinnacle and therefore will fall off of it. If we acknowledge that we have arrived, what goals remain? It is a feeling akin to death. So we instead find another measure to work toward. Likewise, when we are around other people, we do not stand firmly in our pride because we are taught it is a bad thing. And when done in an unhealthy way, it is. What we are sensing in the feeling of being better than others because we have achieved something. This makes us uncomfortable because we know it's both untrue and unkind. How to resolve this? We can all acknowledge and appreciate other people's diverse accomplishments and talents while still being happy about our own. Instead of shrugging off a compliment, we can respond by saying, "Thank you. I worked very hard and I'm happy to be here." If the fear is that we are peaking too soon, we have to reform our idea of progress. We do not get better only to get worse again. We do not achieve one thing only to lose it and return to what we are before. That instinct is a self-sabotaging behavior, one that wants to keep us within our old comfort zone. Instead, we acknowledge that when one part of our life improves, it radiates out to everything else. When we achieve one thing, we are better equipped for the future. Life tends to gradually get better as we keep working on it. It only gets worse if we accomplish something, then shut down because we are intimidated by our own power. Thank you. Somebody else can take it from.
I can do maybe one or two sheets. I just came down from office, so just can be through one or two sheets. Yeah.
You want me to continue? I can
Yeah.
continue.
This is the
Should I continue?
Yeah, I can go ahead for the reading.
no. I can read. I can read one or two sheets.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So unhealthy habits, this is the most common way which their own success by maintaining habits that are actively keeping them away from their goals. This is when someone declares that they want to better, but doesn't change anything to reach to make that, or when they want to make a change professionally, but find ways to make it difficult, if not impossible, for them to actually do it. At the core of all these behavior is the fact that one part of our psyche understands that we should be evolving and moving forward with our lives, and another part is intimidated by the potential discomfort it would bring. Usually, this culminates in so much inner tension and frustration that a breaking point is reached and changes are made from there. However, the goal is not to have to get to a crisis point in your life before you can become aware of the ways you are holding yourself back from living peacefully and comfortably. I can read one more page. How to resolve this? Define health on your own terms. What does a healthy life look like for you? How would it make you feel, and what would you be doing? It is difficult to look solely to anyone else's definition of healthfulness, particularly because we are all different people with varying needs, preferences, and schedules. Instead, figure out what makes you feel best. Decide what combination of healthy eating, exercise, and sleep is right for you and stick to it. Like so many things, healthy habits are best established gradually. Instead of trying to force yourself to take an hour at the gym at 6 a.m., try instead to do 15 minutes or perhaps swap out with a class you really enjoy and go at a time that works better for your schedule. Make it easy for yourself to succeed. Prepare your meals or keep water by your desk so you can sip it throughout the day. Gradually recondition yourself to prefer healthy habits, ones that actually work for your lifestyle. Being busy. Another very common way that people sabotage is by distracting themselves to the point of being completely phased out of their lives. People who are constantly busy are running from themselves. Nobody is busy unless they want to be busy. And you will know that because so many people themselves that way. This is because being busy is not a virtue. It only signals to others that you do not know how to manage your time or your task. Being busy communicates importance. It often makes you seem a little untouchable to others. It also overwhelms the body so that it can only focus on the task at hand. Being busy is the ultimate way to distract ourselves from what's really wrong. How to resolve this? If your schedule is unmanageable, you will never going to be as effective or productive as you could be. If this is the case, your first job has to be to streamline and prioritize your tasks in order of importance. Outsource whatever else you can and then let go of the rest. If your issue is that you intentionally create chaos and busyness in your day when there is no need for it, you have to get comfortable with simplicity and routine. Start with writing down your top 5 tasks that need to be done each day, and then focus on doing those and only those. You might also need to confront the sense of protection that being busy gives you. Does it make you feel more important than others? Does it give you an excuse to say no to plans or to avoid some people? You need to find healthier and more productive ways to cope with these feelings, such as finding genuine self confidence in what you do by creating something you're proud of, or by getting better at calmly clearly stating your boundaries and needs in relationships. Spending time with the wrong people. It is true that much of our lives is shaped by the people we spend time with, and the company you keep is another common way that people self sabotage. Certainly, you can think of some people in your life who stress you out, make you feel insecure, and yet keep you coming back for more. These relationships exist at the lighter end of toxicity spectrum. but they are self-defeating nonetheless. If you find yourself preoccupied with a certain friendship or relationship that is making you feel almost addicted to the feeling of being less than or jealous of, you need to gradually phase out of it. You don't need to be mean, rude, or even cut anyone out of your life. You do, however, need to understand that the people you spend the most time with will shape your future irrevocably. And so you must choose them wisely. Somebody else can read. Yeah. Thank you.
Can I go ahead? Am I audible? This is Pranavi here. Good afternoon to all.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
can hear you. Yeah.
How to
Yeah,
resolve?
Ramya wanted to read. Pranav, you can go after her.
Who want to read?
Ramya,
No
Ramya
no
wanted to
problem.
read.
Yeah. Please go ahead. Not at all an
Yeah,
issue.
after that you can read.
Yeah.
Thank you, Pranavi. Thank you, Manish.
Yeah.
How to resolve this? Work on building a circle of people who support and inspire you, who gave similar goals and enjoy spending time with you. You should leave a get together feeling energized and inspired, not exhausted and angry. It takes time to find your group of friends, and you may not discover that all at once. It could start with offering to take some you admire out for coffee, or reaching out to do something with a person with whom you would like to reconnect. Slowly but genuinely rebuild your connections and then foster and care for them as much as you can. Worrying about irrational fears and least likely circumstances. Another very common way that people sabotage without realizing is by preoccupying themselves with fears of worst case scenarios. You are probably familiar with this, at least to some degree. You have a wired or highly unlikely thought that evokes a deep sense of dread, fear, and series of doomsday scenarios in your head. You then keep coming back to it to the point that it even controls some part of your life. Irrational fears, especially the kind that are least likely to become reality, are often what we project real fears onto. These irrational fears are safe because deep down we know they are not going to happen. They are placeholders, a way for us to express the feeling we really have onto something we know is not going to happen. When you find yourself in a fear cycle, constantly repeating some strange, random, or unimportant one off circumstances or situation that has a very low probability of becoming reality, ask yourself if you have any feelings about something related that is actually valid. For example, if you get anxious about being a passenger in a car, consider if your fear is of moving forward or being out of control. Or if you are anxious about being fired from your job, the fear might really be the idea that you are not worthy of another job or being humiliated by a higher up. How to resolve this? Instead of wasting all of your energy trying to control some worst case scenario, consider what the message of the fear may be and what it is telling you that you need in your life. If the fear was an abstract metaphor, what would the meaning be? Is the abrupt loss of income a symbol of your desire for security? Is the fear of the future a symbol for not living fully right now? Is the anxiety about making decisions a symbol for knowing what you really want and being too afraid to choose it? At the core of the things we most fear is a message that we are trying to send ourselves about what we really care about. If we can identify what we want to protect, we can find healthier and more secure ways to do it. How to tell if you are in a self-sabotage cycle? Even if you can cognitively understand self-sabotaging behaviors, sometimes the most difficult shift is recognizing that we are engaging in them. In fact, sometimes the signs are so subtle. They are barely recognizable and often don't come to our attention until they become highly problematic or someone else points them out. Some of the most prominent symptoms of self-sabotage are as follows. You are more aware of what you don't want than what you do. You spend more of your time worrying, ruminating, and focusing on what you hope doesn't happen than you do imagining, strategizing, and planning for what you do. You spend more time trying to impress people who don't like you than you spend with people who love you for who you are. You are more focused on growing into the kind of person who evokes the envy of your supposed enemies rather than the kind of person who is beloved by their family and friends and prioritize them no matter what. You are putting your head in the sand. You don't know basic facts of your life, like how much debt you have or what other people in your field are being paid for similar work. When you get into an argument, you run away until you forget rather than talking about what's wrong and coming up with a solution. In other words, you are in denial and so any hope of healing is futile. So I'll stop here. Does anyone want to continue?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, 1 second. You care more about convincing other people you are okay than actually being okay. You would rather post photos that make it look like you had a great time than being concerned about whether you actually had a good time. You put more effort towards trying to convince everyone you're doing well rather than being honest and connecting with the people who could help or support you. Your main priority in life is to be liked, even if that comes at the expense of being happy. You think more about whether or not your actions will earn you the. Oh, just a moment. Yeah, you think more about whether or not your actions will earn you the approval of people who are people, by the way, rather than whether or not they will actually make you feel fulfilled and content with who you are. You are more afraid of your feelings than anything else. If you get to the point in life at which the scariest, most detrimental thing you face is the fear of whether or not you will be able to handle your own emotions, you are the one standing in your own way, nothing else is. You're blindly chasing goals without asking yourself why you want those things. If you're doing everything you're supposed to be doing and yet you feel empty and depressed at the end of the day, the issue is probably that you're not really doing what you want to be doing. You have just adopted someone else's script for happiness. You are treating your you're treating your coping mechanisms as a problem. Instead of trying to incite war on yourself to overcome your overeating, spending, drinking, sexing, whatever it is, you need to improve. Ask yourself what emotional need that the thing is filling. Until you do, you will battle it forever. You value your doubt more than your potential. Negativity bias makes us believe that bad things are more real than good. And unless we keep that inclination in check, it can leave us believing that everything we fear to be true is more real than the good things that are actually true. You are trying to care about everything. Your willpower is a limited resource. You only have so much in a day. Rather than using it to try to become good at everything, decide what matters most to you. Focus your attention on that and let everything else slip away. You are waiting for someone else to open a door, offer approval, or hand you the life you have been waiting for. We grow up with the illusion that success is what's handed to people who are most deserving, talented, or privileged. When we arrive, however, we realize it is constructed by those who find an intersection of their interests, passions, skills, and market cap. Sprinkle on a little bit of persistence, and the only way to fail is to give up. You don't realize how far you have come. You are not the person you were 5 years ago. You evolve as your self image does. So make sure that it's an accurate one. Give yourself credit for everything you have overcome that you never thought you would, and everything you have built that you never thought you could. You have come so much farther than you think, and you're so much closer than you realize. Identifying your subconscious commitments. Part of the reason we often experience intense inner conflicts or self sabotage is because of something called a core commitments, which is essentially your primary objective or intention for your life. Your subconscious commitments are basically what you want more than anything else, and you often are not even aware of them. You can identify your core commitments by looking at the things that you struggle with most and the things you are most driven by. If you can peel back the layers of your motivations towards each, you will find a root cause. When you find the same root cause for everything, you have found a core commitment. People only seem irrational and unpredictable until you understand what they are fundamentally committed to. For example, if someone has a core commitment to feel free, they may find themselves sabotaging work opportunities in order to achieve that. If someone's core commitment is to feel wanted, they could find themselves in a series of relationships in which they have intense connections but refuse to make commitments out of fear that the spark will fade. If someone's core commitment is to be in control of their lives, they might have irrational anxiety about things that represents a loss of control. If someone's core commitment is to be loved by others, they might pretend to be helpless in certain areas of life because if they don't need others, they might be left by them. But the most important thing to understand is that your core commitments are actually a cover up for core needs. Your core need is the opposite of your core commitment. Your core need is also another way to identify your purpose. For example, if your subconscious core commitment is to be in control, your core need is trust. If your subconscious core commitment is to be needed, your core need is to know you are wanted. If your subconscious core commitment is to be loved by others, your need is self love. The less that you feed your core need, the louder your core commitment symptoms will be. If you are a person who needs trust and is therefore committed to staying in control, the less that you believe you are supported, the more your negative coping mechanisms are going to flare up. Perhaps this could happen in the form of disruptive eating patterns, isolating yourself, or hyperfixation on physical appearance. If you are committed to freedom and therefore need a sense of autonomy, the less that you build a life on your own terms, the more you are going to sabotage opportunities and feel drained and exhausted when you should feel happy. Okay, I'll just still read here. The more you lean into fulfilling your core needs, the more your commitment symptoms will disappear. Once you understand what a person really wants, you will be able to explain the intricacies of their habits and behaviors. You will be able to break down to detail what they will do in any given situation. More importantly, once you start asking yourself what you really want, you will be able to stop battling the symptoms and start addressing the only issue that has ever really existed in your life, which is living out of alignment with your core needs and therefore your core purpose. Yes, thank you all. Anyone else? Please go ahead with the reading.
May I read again if nobody is reading?
Yeah, go ahead, Tasneem.
Okay. Confronting repressed emotions and taking action. There is a difference between understanding why we self-sabotage and act of no longer self-sabotaging. This means that once we understand the root and purpose of the behavior, we adjust it. We adapt. Overcoming self-sabotage is not just a matter of understanding why you are holding yourself back. It is being able to take action in the direction that you want and need to, even if it is initially uncomfortable or triggering. This is very important part of the process because you are essentially going to be confronting the exact emotions you have been trying to avoid. When you stop engaging in self-sabotaging behavior, repressed emotions that you weren't even aware of will start to come up, and you might feel even worse than you did before. The thing about overcoming self sabotage is that we do not often need to be told what to do. We know what we want to do and we know what we need to do. It is simply that we are being held back by our fear of feeling. To begin to unravel this emotional holding pattern, we can work through the following to find more ease and space and freedom while we change our lives. The most common emotions that arise while you are breaking self sabotaging behaviors. The first feeling you are likely to confront is resistance. This is that generalized sense of being stuck or your body feeling so tense that it is almost hard, as though you are hitting a wall. This feeling is usually a masking emotion that is preventing you from actually being aware of sensations beneath it, which are more acute. When you start to feel resistance, you do not want to just push through it. In fact, trying to do that means you will keep hitting the same wall that you are up against already. You're going to strengthen the self sabotaging behavior because you aren't really solving the problem by just trying to override it. Instead, start asking the right questions. Why do I feel this way? What is this feeling trying or telling me, trying to tell me about the action I'm trying to take? Is there something I need to learn here? What do I need to do to honor my needs right now? Then you have a reconnect to your inspiration or your vision of life for life. Get clear on why you want to take this action and make a change. When your motivation is the fact that you want to live a different and better existence, you are going to find that a lot of the resistance fades because you are being pushed by a vision that's greater than your fear. In other cases, you might run into other emotions such as anger, sadness, or inadequacy. When those feelings come up, it is very important to make space for them. This means to allow them to rise up in your body and observe them. Watch where they make you tense up or constrict. Feel what they want you to feel. There is nothing worse than the fear of feeling the emotion, as the experience itself is ultimately often just some physical tension around which we have crafted a story. Remember that a lot of these feelings may very well have a root in something related to the self sabotaging behavior. If you are angry about how one of your parents treated you, it probably won't come as a surprise that the core feeling of why you are sabotaging your relationships is anger and mistrust. The feelings associated with self sabotage are not usually random. In fact, they can lead us to deeper insights about what we really need and what problems within us are still unresolved. To fully release those feelings once you are aware of them, try writing yourself a letter. Write something to your younger self or from the perspective of your future self. Write down a mantra or a manifesto. Remind yourself that you love yourself too much to settle for less, or that it is okay to be angry in unfair or frustrating circumstances. Give yourself space to experience the depth of your emotions so that they do not control your behaviors. Disconnecting action and feeling. The final and the most important lesson to overcome self sabotage is to learn to disconnect action from feeling. We are not held back in life because we are incapable of making change. We are held back because we do not feel like making change. And so we don't. The truth is that you can have a vision of what you want, know that it is undoubtedly right for you, and simply not feel like taking the action required to pursue the path, that path. This is because our feelings are essentially wired as comfort system. They produce a good feeling when we are doing what we have always done. Staying in familiarity, this to our bodies registers as safety. In other cases, the accomplishments or changes that we are very happy about are those that we also perceive to offer us a greater measure of safety. If the achievement potentially puts us at risk in any way or exposes us to something unfamiliar, we aren't going to be happy about it initially, even if it is a net positive for our lives. However, we can actually train ourselves to prefer behaviors that are good for us. This is how we restructure our comfort zones. We begin to crave what we repeatedly do, but the first few times we do it, we often feel uncomfortable. The trick is being able to override the initial hesitation, or we are guiding our lives with logic and reason, not emotionality. Though your emotions are always valid and need to be validated, they are hardly ever an accurate measure of what you are capable of in life. They are not always an accurate reflection of reality. All your feelings know is what you have done in the past, and they are attached to what they have drawn comfort from. You may feel as though you are worthless, but you most certainly are not. You may feel as though there is no hope, but there most certainly is. You may feel as though everyone dislikes you, but that is probably gross over exaggerations. You may think everyone is judging you, but that is a misperception. Most importantly, you may feel as though you cannot take action when you most certainly can. You simply do not feel willing because you are not used to it. By using logic and vision to guide ourselves, we are able to identify a different and a better life experience. When we imagine this, we feel peaceful and inspired to rise up to meet their version of our lives. This version of our lives. We must overcome our resistance and discomfort. We will not feel happy initially, no matter how right for us those actions are. It is essential that you learn to take action before you feel like doing it. Taking action builds momentum and creates motivation. These feelings will not come to you spontaneously. You have to generate them. You have to inspire yourself. You have to move. You have to simply begin and allow your life and your energy to reorient itself to prefer the behaviors that are going to move your life forward, not the ones that are keeping you held back. Thank you.
Thanks, Tasneem, and everyone who read. So we'll stop here today. And we'll discuss on what has been read so far, what things connected, what things were some things which we never thought of, and what were relatable things that, okay, this is me, this is what I do normally, and this is how I can overcome. So please do share.
Okay, if nobody is starting, should I?
Yeah, please go ahead, Tasneem.
This whole reading that we did today, mostly, and correct me if I'm wrong, they are usually talking about we self-sabotaging ourselves, because it is always we are influenced in self-sabotaging by people and surroundings around us. Is that true? Am I understanding it correctly?
That is one of the reasons. Yes.
Yeah. So majorly, every time they are talking about feelings and emotions and understanding ourselves, uh, very well, it is, it is written, but to my understanding, it comes that it is only because when we are either interacting or doing something, we have kept the other person or the society or in the bigger picture, the whole environment of us in place. So keeping this in mind, what I feel, definitely she has given us all the possible ways to connect with ourselves. So what I have tried, and I have read it also somewhere, that one should start becoming comfortable in their own company. So once you are able to sit with yourself and spend time with yourself, I think that gives us that place to understand what all emotions are there that we need to take care. But nowadays, it becomes a little difficult for people, because we all are so surrounded with when we are working, we are surrounded with our colleagues and other people. When we are in a family, joint family, when we have to go to, younger generation, they have peer pressure. So we all have forgotten that each individual is unique, and we all need to learn to first spend time with ourselves. That was my take, that more you spend time with yourself, more you will get a better understanding of how to clear your hurdles or your shortcomings, and how you will be able to more comfortably work with it.
Right, Tasneem. Thanks for bringing that out. Yes, that is there, that we are too much outward looking. We are looking at things and getting influence. Yes, that is a major part of our lives that we are having to face, given the lot of distractions and the online presence that is there. Having said that, we also have some kind of unconscious needs or requirements which we normally don't look into. So that's why when you say that we have to sit with ourselves, First, be comfortable. Means you accept that you are not perfect, there are certain things you could change. There are certain things it's okay not to change. Yeah. So yes, being comfortable with yourself is also essential. And then you see what kind of a pattern you are going into, what you dislike and what could be done better, so that then you can work according to what they have given. Mota mota, if I see what the book is trying to say is that that basically it is your coping mechanism that you have, the way of living has to change. So you'll have to look at ways, maybe the reasons why it is so, and plug it and see how you can make the change. So coping mechanism essentially will have actions and also the feelings. So there is a pattern of behavior or a habit we go into because it's comfortable and we are got used to it. And then the feeling part, either we are not allowing ourselves to feel, or we are not able to control it. Be able to understand what it is trying to hint and accordingly channelize that energy. So that's what this thing is. Recognize your need, which may be unconscious, and then accordingly see how you can actually fulfill that need. Yeah. Thanks, Tasneem, to start off the discussion. Yeah. Who else would like to add? Yes, Ramya. Anyone else?
Hello. Hello.
Yeah, Ramya.
I can add something.
Yeah.
I like the message that we can't move forward with holding our old pain, but it's not easy. But I think little by little I can learn to trust myself more and let go of what hurts. So the line I like this chapter is, healing begins the moment you stop running from your pain and start listening to it. So this is the wonderful line today. Thank you so much for this session.
Yeah, this is actually a beautiful line that you have actually focused on. And anything you could relate from your experience with what has been given in the book? Anything, Ramya, that comes out in your mind? Okay, this could change, or this is something more I can implement.
We can improve ourselves only. The book is dramatically changes so much habit. So this is the first time I am starting to read this book from this group.
Hmm.
So this is the one of the great achievement for me. So came out from my own sabotage.
Okay, congratulations for that. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anything else you would like to share?
Oh, man. Nothing.
Okay, fine. Okay. Anyone else?
Okay, I would like to just add one more thing, that many a times doing this kind of an exercise, or introspecting ourselves and um, doing a lot of work on ourselves becomes a kind of a big task. The first thing that they said is resistance will come in place, anger will come in place. So in that scenario where I have seen that having an accountability partner, like once you have sat with yourself and you have identified the areas where you want to work, just maybe pick up one area that you want to first start working at, and then have somebody who is really close to you, or who would be the one to, who has always been there for you to help you. Take that person and ask that person to be your accountability partner. Ask them to you start giving them updates that, okay, in the scenario of this one habit that I wanted to change, or this one thing that I wanted to change, I have decided of these steps. That person does not decide anything for you. You decide everything for yourself, but you are accountable to that person. Like, the person knows what your agenda is, and then that person questions you maybe a week or twice a week. That person asks you that how you are on track, what have you done, what have you fallen back. So many a times these kind of changes becomes difficult, because if we are people's people, it becomes difficult for us to do it alone by ourselves. So having an accountability partner really helps.
Yeah, very great point, Tasneem. That helps. You have an external commitment that you are going to finish this. So that is really, something which will work for some people who feel that resistance very hard and may not be able to overcome on their own. So they need some kind of encouragement and external anchor, to actually give them energy to move ahead. Yes. And of course, as you had told yesterday, I think journaling will also help for you yourself to understand that where you are and what your experiences are all about. So yes, that will help definitely. So anyone else would like to add anything to this?
Manasali, can I add something?
Please go ahead.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah. It's good suggestion actually to take the help of the accountability partner, writing the journal. This is what you find the solution in many of the books. My takeaway from today's book, yes, yesterday and today we came across around 16 different type of self-sabotaging, which is the first time I seen up to this level, the details. And author, as I mentioned yesterday, yes, it gives the solution as well. But very at the beginning of the chapter, author defined what the mountain is. Okay, mountain is you, mountain is me, or mountain is you or we. So what author defined the mountain definition there is basically how mountain is get built. It is basically the collision or the collide of the two lands. Okay, one is what I want in my life, which is definitely it goes to the our happiness, peace, and everyone has their own want. So I like about this book is again it is everything about the internal. There is no external. Okay, so one is I want, and second part, second land slide is basically something is holding me back. Okay, so both these things are there. So we came up to the third day of this thing, and we know this is all happening within us. So this mountain is forming within us. So question is, who is observing this? When we read the chapter one by one, when we went through the each sabotage, we know, oh yeah, I'm doing this in some part of my time, in my past or currently and all that. So something is observing all this thing. Okay, we know that this collision happened and this mountain is created. And when I say that this mountain is already this thing, and then yes, user said or author said that yes, you are responsible. It's good that at the end of this today's chapter, he explained that you are responsible for this thing. Then who is that you? It is not that mountain because it is already there, right? Both the things are there. Something we want and something that means this accelerator and brake. Both things are with us, and both are actually useful. There is some reason that we are holding it back, and there is some reason we want it back. So but who you really are actually. Okay, so I'm just putting some perspective which is beyond this one, but just uh, uh, have a look at it. Okay, you are not that mountain. Okay, you are that sky, you are that pure awareness. That is what Tasneem said other day. You are that pure positive energy. You are actually that divine angel. You have that power. So my takeaway this thing, you are bigger all this, you are bigger than this mountain. Okay, so when you take yourself away from this mountain, you start seeing clearly that why you are doing both the things. Okay, there is no separate, otherwise in Hindi it is called dvandva, or you are creating the two separate yourself and you are fighting. With that you are spending all your energy, you are not going to reach anywhere. Okay, so that's why when Tasneem said you need to take care of the external person, accounting factor, that's really good. But who is the best person who knows both the part? Why I want it, and you are the person. And accountability partner journaling definitely helps because that is the starting point. But once you do all those particular practices and whatever the author says, okay, it's clear, more and more clarity to you only. Okay, so my this thing is definitely, I think author will address this thing in future, is basically your practice of awareness. Pinaki yesterday mentioned about the EMI, you know, so that is again practice of your awareness. Manaselvi, you also mentioned why. So all this why, EMI, it is all the practice of awareness which you need to do on hourly basis. Okay, that is what something we lack. Just now Tasneem explained that we are all distracted, or we are surrounded by this thing and all that, but who is you? You are there and you have the control on everything. Okay, once we say that we are actually like under this pressure of distraction, then you are. Okay, so don't think that you are part of this thing, or you are getting distracted this thing. No, you have all the power within you. You need to execute that power. And I love this because love this book exactly with the same reason, because today's reading she clearly explained that you have all that power. Yes, you just need to implement that and get the action. And motivation does not create action, but action create the motivation. So I like that particular line. I like that line. Yes, there is no need for any external motivation. You need to just do the actions. Motivation will come. So thank you, thank you. That's for my end. Awesome session today.
Thanks, Milinji, to sum it so nicely up and giving us those examples also. Yes, we are much more than the mountain, and see, the mountain is in focus right now because we want to be a better version than what we have. So we have a mountain which needs to be moved off from the path so that we become what we want to become. What I liked from this book is the book simply puts down in so points as to what might seem to be a problem. And we can all seem to relate with the language or the words or the instances that the author is giving. The solution also seems to be simple, yet even the author says, we'll have to implement. So you have to implement to actually taste the fruit of the efforts, right? Now, as I already told, it's mostly finding healthier ways to reach your needs, finding better coping mechanisms than that what you are having. Basically, re-looking at the way you are living. And I like the way she had mentioned that your worries and stories that you spin around in your head, which seems to make small things seem large. So look at it as an abstract metaphor and see what it symbolizes and see what it directs yourself to. So basically, everything that we are thinking about, every story that we are spinning, we just need to be the observer there and try to look at what is the deeper need, what is the meaning that we have, and what is somewhere unresolved. So there is a need, and there can be something which has been unresolved for a long time that is again coming out as a pattern. Next or most powerful thing I would say is we seem to value doubt rather than our potential. So the potential is much more. As Milinji also and Tasneem also mentioned, we are much more than what we are thinking we are, and that has to be a constant reminder to us that we are greater than this fear, we are greater than this mountain, and we can overcome it. And the final touch of disconnect action and feeling. So feeling is something, again, we go into our comfort zone or the way we are living or way we have been doing things. But then we'll have to make a conscious effort there. Again, we'll have to be observers of, what we are doing, as Milinji also emphasized. And, we'll have to have a disconnected or dissociated look at things so that we make better meaning out of what is happening. We see it closer to reality and we act more rationally, I would say. Yeah. Yes. So we need to take some actions. We need to make changes if we need to stop self-sabotaging. I would suggest that first thing what we can do as a self-study or awareness practices, whatever points this chapter enlisted, be it, judgment or whatever, we can just take 2 minutes and see what kind of a situation we can bucket into that category for ourselves and see what kind of a solution that can generate. We can maybe take up 1 or 2 things and we can work it over the week and see whether we could achieve something by next week. Yeah. Is there anything else anybody would like to share, or can we call it a day?
I mean, we can definitely call it a day, but I just wanted to share one more thing. If we are press of time, I'll do it tomorrow.
No, please go ahead.
So in NLP, the writer also very profoundly says that it's all about identifying your problem. Self-awareness is required. In NLP, what we have learned is that whatever you are doing continuously, it is called a trance state of you, a trance of your mind, or a trance state of you, like getting up in the morning and doing your brush in a particular manner. If you really observe, you are exactly going to take you're going to swipe your teeth 2 times this side and then this side, and that's a proper trance that you are in, that you don't have to tell yourself how to brush. You will do exactly the same thing every day. Now, the first thing that I learned in NLP was that you need to start identifying your trance, like whatever the author very prominently said, that you keep on building those stories in mind, and then whether they are relevant, they are not relevant, you keep on dwelling on those stories. You don't try to find out why those stories have come to your mind, and you don't want to resolve it. But the first thing, according to NLP also, is to be able to identify that you are getting into a trance of building a story in your mind. So what we learned over there is that whenever you feel that you are getting in a particular kind of a trance, what is trance is doing something completely unconsciously, like it's just happening and you are a part of it. He gave us an activity of tapping your shoulder. So like, I mean, like I was there. I used to be in a state where, I used to pick up a certain thing and somebody has hurted me. So if there was a story which I could create to get back to that person, I used to not do it in person, because I don't want to do that in conscious state of mind. I don't want to hurt anybody, just because even if they have hurt it. But in my mind, then I used to play a story where I want to hurt her, or I want to disturb her, or how I trying to remove that revenge of mine. So what I tried to started doing is that is where I started to catch that I am going in that trance, and then tap myself, come out of it, ask myself whether this is a productive trance or an unproductive trance. So this might help if you want to try. It has helped me tremendously.
Great, Tasneem.
No, I didn't get the point. Can you please, somebody got it? I didn't get the point.
So if you're in a trance, say I'll give you another example. I gave you right now an example of me being upset with somebody and fighting, and then building up a story in my mind, and kind of misbehaving with that person in my mind. But for example, if I have to take that, I want to do my further studies. I want to go for my master's in LLP. Now, if I am procrastinating, or I am just building up a story that no, I don't think so I can be able to do the master's because it is too difficult, the fees is too heavy, and I keep on talking that to myself continuously, I am in a trance. I'm in a place where I love being in that place, and I try to self-sabotage myself by saying that I'm not capable, I'm doing this, it will not happen, it will never happen, it is too difficult, the money is too expensive for the fees, and so on and so forth. There is a lot of time which will be consumed. But when you are able to identify that you are in trance, you need to tap yourself, and you need to change the language. Like it said, no, the motion and action. So instead of sitting over there and talking to yourself all of it, you need to come out of the trance and change your action at that point in time. Did it help?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, Asneem, for your repeating and your valuable inputs. Anyone else would like to add anything? Okay, thank you, everyone. So we'll call it a day. Yeah. See you
Thank you,
tomorrow.
everyone. Thanks for your
Thank you.
time. Thanks, Naseem. Awesome share. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.